Hello, good afternoon to you and welcome to Bena Midday News. We're bringing you this news live from Benap House, Atomic Junction, Medina. My name is Sherifatu Ayuba. Coming up in this afternoon's bulletin. A devastating fire outbreak has hit the Kumasi metropolis, raising fresh concerns about fire safety in commercial centers. And in other stories, the Ghana cedi currency showed a mixed performance over 2-week review period. And on the international front, Nigeria's military will try several officers over an alleged plan to oust President Bola Tinubu last year. We bring you details of this story shortly. Thank you for staying with us. Remember, you can stream this news live on Facebook and on YouTube at Bena TV. Now, the news in details. One person is reported dead following a clash between two youth factions in Sako, Winneba in the central region. While it remains unclear what occasioned the clash, videos of members of the factions inflicting machete wounds on themselves have been widely circulated. According to the Winneba Divisional Police Command ACP Ibrahim Opoku, several persons got injured in the clash, which occurred on Sunday, January 25th. Police have, however, arrested multiple suspects following a review of the video of the event. Meanwhile, one individual identified as Escobar has died after sustaining multiple machete and gunshot wounds in the clash. Police have, however, intensified operations in the community and restored calm. Barely 24 hours after a devastating fire outbreak at Sofoline magazine, another blaze has hit the Kumasi metropolis, raising fresh concerns about fire safety in commercial centers. The last incident occurred on Monday night at about 10 p.m. when fire swept through the Awuna market near Amfu Nkwanta, destroying several shops and their contents.
Personnel from the Ghana National Fire Service were swiftly deployed to the scene and worked to contain the fire, preventing it from spreading to adjoining structures and nearby properties. Although the cause of the fire is yet to be officially confirmed, eyewitnesses said the blaze is believed to have started from a section of the market housing a footwear factory. No casualties have been reported so far, but traders at the market are said to have suffered significant losses as goods and equipment were reduced to ashes. Investigation have since been initiated by the fire service to determine the exact cause of the incident, as authorities see new calls for improved fire safety measures in the market and commercial hub.
Now moving on to politics, Kennedy Ohene Ejapon is emerging as the preferred candidate among self-employed delegates, students and the unemployed, according to a new survey by Sanity Africa ahead of the New Patriotic Party's presidential primaries. The Pan-African Civil Society Organization conducted the survey between December 2025 and January 2026, assessing delegates' voting intentions across key demographic indicators, including employment status, gender, religion, and age. The findings show clear differences in candidate preference across employment categories. Among delegates in full-time employment, former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia leads with 53.8% compared with 41.9% for Mr. Ejapon. Dr. Brian Acheampong places third in this category with 4.3%. However, support shifts marked among the self-employed, including traders, market women, artisans, farmers and business people, where Mr. Ejapon commands 55.5% ahead of Dr. Bawumia's 39.5%. Students and unemployed delegates also show strong backing for Mr. Ejapon. Among students, 58.9% indicate support for him, compared with 32.7% for Dr. Bawumia. Among unemployed delegates, 52.8% backed Mr. Ejapon against 39% for Dr. Bawumia. Overall, the survey places Mr. Ejapon as the front runner with 52% of total delegate support, followed by Dr. Bawumia on 40%. Dr. Brian Acheampong ranks third with 7%, while Dr. Yao Osei Aduchum and Kwabena Ejapon trail with 0.7% and 0.3% respectively. The poll also highlights notable gender, age, and religious dynamics. Mr. Ejapon leads among female delegates and those under 40, while Dr. Bawumia maintains stronger support among male and older delegates. In terms of religious affiliations, Christian delegates largely favor Mr. Ejapon, while Muslim delegates show a preference for Dr. Bawumia. Sanity Africa's findings suggest that employment status is a key factor shaping voting behavior in the NPP flag-bearer race, while Dr. Bawumia retains strength among full-time workers and old delegates. Mr. Ejapong's dominance among the self-employed, students and unemployed could prove decisive in the final outcome of the primaries. Moving on to other stories, the Minister for Interior, Muttaka Mohammed Mubarak, has called for increased investment in early warning systems as a proactive and cost-effective approach to preventing conflict and maintaining national peace and security. According to him, early warning mechanisms were critical to identifying emerging threats and addressing potential conflicts before they escalate, stressing that the absence of war does not necessarily mean a country is at peace. Mr. Muntaka made the call during a familiarization meeting with officials of the National Center for Coordination of Early Warning and Response Mechanism at the Ministry of Interior on Monday, January 26, 2026. He recommended the center for its contribution to national security and peace building, particularly its publications, which he described as useful tools for policymakers and stakeholders. The minister noted that the investing its early warning inputs, including tools and systems, was far cheaper than dealing with the consequences of violent conflict and instability. He therefore urged relevant institutions to prioritize preventive approaches rather than reactive interventions. Mr. Muntaka also stressed the need for community sensitization on early warning indicators, noting that local communities were often the first to observe signs of tension or emergency emerging threats. He further called for stronger collaborations among state institutions involved in peace and security and urged the media to devote more space to discussions on early warning and conflict prevention to help build public awareness and support. Despite resource constraints, the minister said he was satisfied with the work of the NCCRM and encouraged the center to continue strengthening its operations and outreach. The coordinator of the NCCRM, Colonel Emmanuel Sampson, expressed appreciation to the minister for the engagement and support and reaffirmed the center's commitment to deepening cooperation with the National Peace Council. He said the center's mandate extends beyond human security to cover other thematic areas essential to national and regional stability, adding that ongoing partnerships were key to enhancing early warning and response efforts across the country. Well, on this note, we go for a quick turn. We'll be back with business and more. To stay.
Again, it's bigger and better. Brace yourselves for the third edition of the biggest pre-Ramadan fair in town. It's the Baina Trade Connect 2026. 2 days of endless sales and unmatched vibes. Mark your calendars on the 14th and 15th February 2026 at Zurak Park, Libya Cortez, Medina from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. each day. Come trade, come connect, come shop and have fun. To book a stand, contact 053-948-7757. Baina Trade Connect 2026. See you there.
Welcome back. If you just tuned in, you're watching Baina Midday News on Baina TV. Now let's move on to some business story. The Ghana cedi currency showed a mixed performance over the 2-week review period, depreciating slightly in the interbank market while strengthening in retail market. The US to Ghana cedi, closed at a mid-rate of 10 cedis 88 pesos in the interbank market, up from 10 cedis 70 pesos.
However, the pound and euro eased by 2.70% and 2.57% to close at 14.78 Ghana cedis and 12.80 Ghana cedis, respectively, against the cedi. In contrast, the retail rates saw the dollar fare modestly against the cedi to 11.90 Ghana cedis from 12.15 Ghana cedis, while the pound and euro strengthened by 1.58% and 2.18%, closing at mid-rate of 15.80 Ghana cedis and 13.75 Ghana cedis, respectively. Databank research says renewed demand exceeding FX, which is forex supply, caused modern cedi losses in the interbank market, while relatively subdued retail demand likely prompted slight price adjustment to attract buyers. They forecast a stronger cedi over the next 2 weeks, underpinned by anticipated FX injection to temper bearish expectations. On the external front, global rerouted flows and interest appear to favor persistent dollar weakness as sovereigns cautiously trim U.S. Treasury holdings despite yield appeal. Meanwhile, the cedi started trading this week at 12 Ghana cedis to 1 American greenback. Its year-to-date appreciation stands at 1.88% to the dollar.
And moving on to some news beyond our borders, Nigeria's military will try several officers over alleged plan to oust President Bola Tinubu last year. It said on Monday, acknowledging a plot the government had initially denied. In October, the military said 16 officers had been arrested over issues of indiscipline. Despite official denial, sources across the Nigerian government and military had told AFP they were arrested over a coup plot. If successful, this would have brought an end to a quarter-century of democracy in Africa's most populous country. No date was given for the trials. The officers could face the death penalty if found guilty, according to legal experts. Shortly after denying the alleged coup plot, Tinubu reshuffled the country's top military brass. General Christopher Musa was dropped as a chief of defense staff in the shuffle, though he has since come back as defense minister. The West African country has seen several military takeovers in its history and spent much of the 20th century under junta rule after its independence from Britain. It transitioned to civilian rule in 1999 and has had a democratic government since. Hints of the affair first became public when Nigeria's defense headquarters issued a statement on October 4 about the arrest of 16 officers, citing cases of indiscipline and perceived career stagnation. News around the alleged plot faded from view amid some government denials and as the country was swept up in a diplomatic crisis as U.S. President Donald Trump criticized Nigeria for allegedly not doing enough to protect Christians from violence. The Nigerian military is fighting a long-running insurgency against Boko Haram and Islamic State West African province in the northeast, while the violence has waned since its peak a decade ago. Attacks continue, including deadly assaults on military bases, seemingly with no end in sight. Analysts warn of a rise in violence in 2025, while troops have at times reported unpaid wages and poor conditions. The military is stretched thin on the other front as well, including fighting armed gangs known as bandits, the northwest that kidnap for ransom, and separatists in the southeast. The United States have since launched joint strike against Islamic State Sahel province militants in the northwest and pledged increased intelligence sharing to help Nigeria carry out airstrikes across the north. Now moving on to sports, former FIFA president Sepp Blatter has backed calls for football fans to stay away from the upcoming FIFA World Cup in the United States, citing concerns over the conduct of President Donald Trump and his administration. In a post on X on Monday, Blatter supported comments made by Swiss anti-corruption expert Mark Pitt, who questioned the sustainability of the United States as a World Cup host. The tournament will be co-hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico.